Hello, this is the second video in the tutorial series making a fighting fantasy style adventure book in AGS. I'm going to start a new game, continue that, and we'll be presented with a wizard next to that. I generally start with the Sierra style template that comes with systems for loading a game, saving a game, systems for controlling your options, sound volume, various things like that. As if you went with an empty game, you would have to write all that yourself, and there isn't much point. It's easier to remove things that you don't need than it is to begin editing these, adding these things in. So I'm just going to next to this. So we're going to give our adventure game a name. So I'm going to call this Fighting Fantasy, and we're going to build. We need a folder to build our project in. So I'm going to call it. I'm just calling this AGS tutorial, and I'm going to set a directory. I always work from a folder on my desktop. You can place this wherever you like. I'm really sorry for the banging. I'm actually offshore on an oil rig at the moment, and they're doing work outside. Okay, so this is our home screen for AGS. I'm just going to close that. So it's a bit daunting when you begin a new project. There's the sound, programming, art, story, UI design. I find AGS is really good for prototyping and getting going quite quickly, and I just want to get something playable as soon as possible. So I'm going to straight away create a number of assets that will get us to that point. So I'm going to create a new GUI. I'm also going to change the game resolution of our project. So in general settings, there's resolution, and at the moment it's 320 by 200, which is quite small. But I'm going to change this to 320 by 240 because that's just the size that I've been designing all my UI sprites and GUIs in. So it's going to give me a warning that basically it's going to mess up all your GUIs that you've created. So I'm going to OK that. So we've created our first GUI, and it's basically, this is going to be our main page that has all our text that the player reads. It may have some choices, and you'll just go from the next page to the next page. So I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call this page. I'm going to set these colors so they're transparent because we don't want to see a border or background color. And I'm going to add an image. So this is one I've created earlier. So I'm going to right click and create a new subfolder. I'm going to call this UI. And I'll right click, import new sprites. And in my assets folder, you will obviously have your own page that you've created. So I'm just going to have this. There's no transparency, it's just a solid image. Import that in and double click. So this is our page. So let's create some labels. So I'm just going to create a label here. And I'm going to create a label here. I might change the alignment, text alignment to be in the center. And drop that down a little bit. And this is our main body of text. So we're going to probably have some buttons here and various things where we can change our options and view our inventory and things. So this could be like a title of like what our room is or whatever you decide. So I'm going to start by naming all my labels so we can write to them using script. So we start with a lowercase l, and I'm going to just call this title. And I'm going to change this one to be lowercase l, and I'm going to call this text body. I'm just going to change that to a lowercase t. Okay, so here we are. let's add some GUI. Let's add some fonts. So we've got in our font section. These are the default fonts that come with the base game, the base template. So if I right click and add a new font, it creates a font which using a default font that's built into the system. I'm going to import over this. Yes. And in my fonts folder, I'm going to use this one. This is just one I've downloaded off the internet. It's a true type font. Set this to 15. And we can name it so we know what we're doing. Here. I'm just going to call this text body. And I'm going to create a new font. We'll have another one for buttons. I think we'll need. Import that in. Yes. Tahama 12. And I'll call this button text. Okay, so if we go back to our GUI, I'm just going to change the font to be our new text body font, and that is also going to be the text body font. I don't like working with too many fonts as it starts looking a bit messy. And there we go. So let's add a button. So I'm just going to create a button here. Import image. So we don't have any button images at the moment. So if we're going to assets, and I've got a folder called buttons, and there's a low unlit version. There is transparency, so we'll pick that. And I'll import a new sprite, and this is like the high version of it when your mouse is over. Import that. Okay, so we're going to use this. We can just put that in the right place. We right click on it and bring it to the front, so that means that it's going to be above this text. So as you can see, the boundary of this text field is actually over this button, but if we click it, we'll select it rather than selecting the text. And so for the mouse over image and the mouse and the push image, I'm going to select this one, and we can just type this one in 3. There we go. So great, that's our GUI made. So we can close this, close this, close this, close this. So if we go to our rooms, there's room 1, and we can edit it. So this is the default image that comes with our template. And I'm just going to change this. And because our GUI is a full screen image, just from my own understanding when I'm going through the room images, I'm just going to select change it to our page. And we can give it a new description. Let's call this page 1. So there we are, page 1. Brilliant. And at the very bottom, we also want to have this show player character set to false, so we don't see our character. And there we are. Another thing I would like to do before we move on is, I think there's icon bar. Icon bar. At the moment it says when mouse moves to the top of the screen, it displays itself. I'm just going to switch this to normal and set the visibility to false, because eventually we're going to get rid of this. We're not going to use this. And I'll just do a save. Control S. So in the if we click on this little lightning bolt, this is basically the various actions that can happen with the script. So when we first enter the room, we want to select enters room before fade in. I'm going to select this little button, and this will create a room script. So I'm just going to put in the name of the GUI, so G, so page. It should start filling in automatically. Dot visibility equals true, and we'll save that. And okay, And if we hit F5 or the play button, there we go. So there's our button. You can see the highlight, although the text is black, so we're not seeing it, but we're going to change the text color. So this is our page. Not too exciting at the moment, but I think that's enough for this video. We'll probably get into more in-depth stuff soon. So join me then. See you later.